Wednesday, October 11th, and this is Geeknights. Tonight we talk about SITA-con. Let's do this.
So for the first time in like a month, we had a thunderstorm.
Yeah, it was kind of weird today how, the weather wasn't all sunny like it's been the past couple days, but I didn't feel bad. Usually when it's all gray, I'm like, it's gray. Oh. And you get that sort of winter, less happy than in the summer business going on. But I was pretty happy with the bad weather today. I don't know.
See, the thing is, the winter around here doesn't bother me nearly as much as it did in Rochester.
Well,
because it's sunny here in the winter. Well, there'll be a foot of snow, but it'll be sunny. The sun will be out.
Well, I mean, the cold bothers me, but today it was
Wait
gray.
a minute. So the cold bothers you, yet you get pissed off if the sun is out.
Well, because I don't like the brightness of the sun, but I like the warmth of the sun.
What kind of fungus are you?
Anyway, it was gray and dank, but I was kind of happy because it was a change of pace. I like change.
See, I like change, but when it comes to the weather, I would love it to be like 89 degrees, dry, and brutally sunny every single day.
Just something about today's weather felt good. I don't know what it was. I bet you if the same weather was tomorrow, I probably wouldn't feel good about it.
The same weather's going to be tomorrow. In fact, worse. It's going to be rainy and miserable for the next couple days.
Yeah, see, rain, I love rain when I'm inside. Rain is the best thing in the universe. When I'm outside, rain is the worst thing ever.
See, I like rain outside. I like to go for walks in the rain.
You go do that.
I have in the past. In fact, I remember one time you locked me and Emily out of the house when we did so.
Yeah. Yeah, I did. You wanted to be in the rain, but then, you wanted to be inside. I thought you liked it in the rain.
I did, and you know what? It wasn't raining anymore, and we were done.
Uh-huh. Well, yeah, you get what you deserve.
Anyway, we got some news. Being Anime Manga Comics Day, to all of you new SITA-con listeners.
Yeah, well, we were at SITA-con this weekend, but while we were at SITA-con, there was another con going on in New Jersey called Manga Next.
Which we kind of wanted to go to, and we might have gone for it. In fact, we probably would have gone for a day if SITA-con hadn't been, awesome, and we went there instead.
Yeah, but Manga Next is apparently the sister, brother, companion convention to Anime Next. It's in the same place, run by the same people. But it's manga instead of anime.
Now, I don't know what the hell that's all about.
I don't know. What do you do at a manga convention that's different from an anime convention? I don't know.
That's like having a video game convention and then a DDR convention.
I mean, if it was Japan, there's enough manga where you could have a manga convention that was a lot like, a comic convention.
Well, I mean, most of the manga I like hasn't been released in the U.S.
I know, right?
Or has been released in such a limited quantity with no advertising that no one's ever heard of it.
Yeah, it's like you could have a complete manga convention for me with like one table full of manga, and that would be all of it in the U.S. But anyway, there were 2 industry panels at this convention where they announced some stuff. Del Rey Manga announced 3 new series, Kitchen Princess, Momote Lollipop,
Great,
and Shugo Chara.
All right, that last one doesn't have something weird in the name.
Shugo Chara is by Peach Pit, who is the people who did Dear S and Rosen Maiden.
God.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
Dear, don't even get me started on that goddamn manga.
In addition to the 9 volumes of Genshiken that Del Rey will ultimately publish, because they already published some of them here. There's going to be a Genshiken fan book, and there's going to be some Kujibiki Unbalanced something. I like
Kujibiki Unbalanced more than I like Genshiken.
Yeah, there's going to be some unbalanced action.
I'm all about that.
And also the famous Carl Horn, friend of Anime World Order and anime podcasts. I think he works for Dark Horse. He says that Del Rey will be releasing an encyclopedia covering every manga that has been published in English.
Ooh.
We'll see if that's true, because, a guy from Dark Horse announces something about Del Rey. That's like Sony coming out at the press conference and being like, Nintendo's coming out with this controller that you can move around. So who knows if we can trust that.
But yet at the same time, you stand to gain nothing by lying about another company. I mean...
Yeah, all you do is stand to lose when they sue you.
Or worse, when they come out and say, no, we're not.
Yeah.
What the hell?
But if there is such a thing, I will totally buy that. I have to see it first.
In a second.
Yeah, but if I saw it and it was good, I would get it.
I'm curious to see if my Sanctuary will be in there.
It has to be, because it was a manga published in English.
I'm sure they'll leave something out, and some fanboy will complain about it, and that fanboy might be me.
Oh, and the other panel at the convention that was industry was Vertical. You might not have heard of Vertical because they aren't a big manga publisher like, Tokyo Pop and Viz and such. But they do publish Osamu Tezuka's works that aren't already published by Dark Horse and Viz. Mostly Buddha. They've already published 8 hardcover volumes of Buddha, which is all of it. And they are now publishing the paperback versions, which is what I'm buying. I already have 3 of them out of 8. And they are going to release, I've already pre-ordered it, another Osamu Tezuka manga, Ode to Kirihito, which is, I guess, awesome because it's a Tezuka manga. And they're also going to add to their catalog all of Keiko Takamiya's works. First, they're going to do 2 Terra, which is 3 volumes, and then they're going to do some other stuff in the future. One they mentioned was Shonen Ai Song of Wind and Trees.
Don't they call that a seminal Shonen Ai work?
Yeah, something like that. One that was specifically mentioned by name is the seminal Shonen Ai Song of Wind and Trees.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yep.
There you have it. Oh, one other thing while we're talking about manga. In 2 months from now, December, you can pre-order it now because you pre-order comics and stuff, from Diamond 2 months in advance. Dark Horse is putting out Gunsmith Cats Volume 1 Omnibus.
Hot damn.
It's 460-something pages, and if you pre-order it from dcbservice.com, it's $8. If you buy it at the store, I think it might be $15, $20.
I need a lot more omnibuses.
It's freaking a whole shit ton of Gunsmith Cats manga for not a lot of money. So either pre-order it now or in December, go to the bookstore and buy it.
Yeah. See, I'm waiting for
Yay,
someone.
Dark Horse.
I'm just waiting for someone to re-release all of Urusei Yatsura.
Yeah.
I mean, my friend Ken had a whole thing.
I would buy 1 volume of that, but I don't know if I'd buy all of it.
I'd buy it all because that show has a special place in my heart. I mean,
there's got to be a lot of Urusei Yatsura manga.
There is. There's a lot of that manga.
It's like there's a lot of long-running manga series, and I kind of learned my lesson from One Piece, and that I probably don't want to buy them all. Just buy enough of it,
Well, see, the thing is, I read a lot, actually, of the manga, and it never really got old because it changed itself up more than Ranma even, to the point that it actually was usually always funny.
All right. Well, you got news?
Yeah, I got a news, real quick, little news. Now, there's been all this talk about, the trouble with the PS3 launch. Well, not really the launch, but the pre-launch, the pre-orders. Now, they sold out immediately, and now they're all on eBay, but eBay's shutting them down, but no one cares, and they're going to come back up, whatever. Meanwhile, Nintendo, which said they're going to have, 9 million Wiis or something stupid.
There's like a hajillion freaking Wiis going to be out there. If you want a Wii, you're going to get one if you've got the dinero.
So the Nintendo store in New York City, in Manhattan, where Scott pre-ordered the Wii a while ago.
Weeks ago.
A while ago, yeah. Has quietly started taking pre-orders again.
Yeah, it's like they took pre-orders from me and a whole bunch of other people, and then they stopped. And then they started taking them again without any announcement at all.
Yeah, and also currently with no limit. And they haven't said how many they're going to allow to be taken before they stop. But
a guy on the street said.
Yeah, well, actually, apparently he asked the Nintendo store guy. And
an employee at the Nintendo store told the guy who told the internet who told us.
So while it's total hearsay, I don't doubt this for a second, that currently more than 1,000 have already been pre-ordered to be picked up.
No, that's not what he said. That's not what he said at all.
What was just cut out there was me showing Scott the website and proving that I was right and he was wrong.
What do you want from me?
They have indeed sold, as of press time of that article on Kotaku, more than 1,000 Wii pre-orders at the Nintendo store, and there's no stopping in sight.
How could they sell 1,000 Wiis? I'm going to wait in line with 1,000 people for Wiis.
Well, the thing is, you don't have to wait in line.
How many Wiis are they going to have? 2,000?
Probably more than that.
I wonder, here's the thing, though. They got 1,000 Wiis. They better have 1,000 Zelda Twilight Princesses there, or else.
You know how many? They're probably going to print extra of everything, because it doesn't matter. It's so cheap.
They're going to need 4 times. They're going to need 8,000 Wiimotes there. Where are they going to put all this shit?
You know what? I'm sure they've got a contingency. I'll bet they've got a giant freaking warehouse somewhere in that building.
They've got to have it somewhere in the basement or something, because goddamn, that's a lot of Wiimotes.
Yeah, see, I'm torn now because I want to go down to the Nintendo store for what might be the crazy launch. But at the same time, our friend's throwing a party out in Philly.
Yeah, well, his party's on Saturday. The Wii launch is on Sunday. You can show up at any time on Sunday. I'm not going to go at midnight, even if Reggie's going to be there.
What if Reggie and Miyamoto were going to be there and they would fellate you?
It would have to, it would have to be something like that. But yeah.
Okay. Things of the day.
We're going to replace you saying things of the day
with an echoey version of me saying things of the day.
Yeah, but hopefully a recorded one so you don't have to say it every day. And
I don't mind.
Sound better.
I think it sounds fine the way it is for now.
No,
I'm not adding any of that stuff until season 2 anyway.
Yeah, we got to do something then.
We got a lot more important things to change than that.
So, what kind of thing of the day you got?
Mine actually is a very personal thing of the day. You see, being at SITA-con, no, nothing like that. It's not a video of anything large that may be associated with me. So we were at SITA-con, and we had, the video game pianist, Martin Lung, and Entertainment System doing concerts there. Scott recorded one of the songs that the video game pianist did from the audience, and I'm
on my shitty digital photo camera, which happens to have a video function just in case.
Yep. Now, I was actually much further away in the booth dealing with the spotlight and the stage lights and the house lights during his concert.
Yeah, but I don't know why you were doing that.
Because no one else would.
So just leave it alone. You couldn't hear the concert properly from that.
Actually, I could, because as soon as I set the lights, I just stood in the back like I used to at club all the time, and it was great. It was mostly just because no one else knew what settings to put the house lights at once he walked in. Because I just happened to be in the room when we set it up the first time.
Mm-hmm. Anyway.
But this kid is amazing. We'll talk about him when we talk about, the actual con. But here's an actual video of the concert we saw. At least a tiny, tiny portion of it.
Yeah, a very tiny portion at the beginning. All right. My thing of the day, I don't know if I used this already, but I looked on our website and it wasn't listed as the thing of the day already. And so I'm going to use it. Screw everybody. Even if we talked about it on the show somehow, you're going to hear about it again.
Hey, Scott, It's all you.
Yep, it is all me. Whatever. So there's a game show in Japan, and the way the show works is they show the contestants fun video trivia things, and then they have this hey button, and they kind of hit the hey button a bunch of times. If it's something they like, they give it more heys with the button. And that's all it really is. And one of the segments they showed the contestants on the show was the voice actor of Doraemon. And she can apparently beat Arkanoid on one credit. And they show you this woman is like middle-aged woman who's a voice actor of a big blue magical cat.
She's a little frumpy and surly looking.
Yeah. They show her beating all of Arkanoid on one credit, and they fast forward through like a bunch of boring parts, so you see her playing really, really fast. And at one point her hand gets big. It's kind of scary. But yeah, I didn't even know Arkanoid had a boss or anything, yet this lady can just freaking beat the crap out of the whole game.
Yeah, and of course the song played during the boss is in fact one of the songs that Entertainment System played at the con.
Mm-hmm.
It's also one of my favorite early video game songs.
Yeah, it's a really recognizable video game song that everyone knows, but very few people, relatively speaking, recognize it from Arkanoid.
Well, I was playing it shittily on the piano for, pretty much the last month because it was stuck in my head. Mm-hmm. And Scott was always like, what fucking game is that from? And I was like, I don't know. I heard it because I heard an OC remix while I was laying in bed one day and I didn't look up at what it was.
Yeah, it's one of those songs where you could play it for someone and they go, I know that. That's from that video game. What video game? And then Arkanoid is the correct answer.
Yep. Anyway, so SITA-con 2006 at the SUNY Institute of Technology in Utica, New York.
Mm-hmm.
Not going to talk a lot about the campus, and it looks like a really nice school, but goddamn, is it a barren wasteland in Utica.
Yeah, Utica is not the greatest town. I mean, if anyone is complaining about, Baltimore being bad or Jersey sucking or any other town sucking for conventions,
you can shut your pie holes.
Utica is perhaps the worst place to have a convention ever.
I mean, it seemed all right. We show up, Friday evening. Now, first we drive in Friday, right? no one is on this campus. I mean, not a single goddamn person.
Well, they had a 4-day weekend apparently for Columbus Day, which I did not know until later. But apparently that made most of the 2,500 students on campus leave and head for the hills.
Yeah, I mean, RIT, all the unhip people would leave whenever there's a break, and all the awesome people would stay on campus and make even more mischief than usual.
Unless they were forced to leave, which you were on occasion.
Yeah, so, but whatever, we show up and we walk in the door, and there's this school store right next to the artist alley where we have all our equipment set up, and they sell Red Bull and balls and food and everything we thought we would need. Turns out, they closed at 5 p.m. on Friday and are not open on weekends, thus cutting us off from any source of nourishment.
We'd have to drive to get anything, and the only place to get anything in this town was Walmart.
In fact, we asked around, and everyone we talked to said, you can go to the Walmart. There's a McDonald's in the Walmart.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just wow.
Of course, the sad thing is, everyone we talked to was like, yeah, there's nowhere to eat. But then we drive over to the hotel with the con chair, and there's a million restaurants that they just were stupid and didn't tell us about.
Yeah, I don't know what's wrong with these people. Maybe they were freshmen without cars.
Yeah, because, there was a Delmonico's and a bunch of pizza places and a couple bars.
Yeah, there was a lot of fast food over there, too. But, there were places to eat. Not many, but they were there, and there were enough of them to get us through a weekend.
The only point I want to make, and we're going to do a whole show on this in the near future, is that SUNY IT is probably a great school to learn about IT and computer stuff. But to all of you people at RIT who might complain about the tuition at RIT, you get what you fucking paid for.
Holy shit, do you get what you paid for? There were things at RIT that I took for granted, like having projectors in every classroom that work, having very fast internet connections everywhere, having wireless everywhere.
Having a tech crew.
Having large classrooms that can support having lots of people in them.
Having coffee shops with subsidized coffee open on campus pretty much 24/7 and grocery stores on campus.
Having a big-ass library and lots of computer labs and more than 3 non-residential buildings.
Having soda machines that don't completely run empty before Friday night at a con.
Having cards that you can buy things with and multiple places to eat food from. Having a gym that's separate from the SAU.
Anyway.
Yeah. You get what you pay for.
Yeah, so quit your bitching about RIT.
Yeah, that's right.
But on to the con. Now, showing up at the con, it was a really short drive, was a very heartening experience because we had no idea what to expect. SITA-con had come out of the blue and asked us to come to the convention and then went so far as to offer to pay all of our expenses.
So, of course, we went.
Yeah, forget Manga Next. We would have to pay to get in there. Yep. What kind of panel could we do?
Nothing.
Yeah, so we show up, and we have no idea what to expect at all.
Well, I expected it to be a relatively small con. Like, if more than 300 people showed up, I would have been, jumping out of my socks, surprised.
Yeah, but in terms of, people or anything, we didn't know what was going on.
We had no clue, not at all.
So we walk into the only building, and there are, 15 people wearing red staff shirts standing there like they're waiting for us.
Yep, so we're like, hey, what's up?
Yeah, and I gotta say, the convention was really professionally run. The con chair Corbin really had his act together, and it was...
Andrew Corbin, but Corbin's his last name.
I can't call him anything but Corbin. Dallas.
Me either.
God, you know how many times I made multipass jokes this weekend? Multipass.
Yeah.
I'm Corbin Dallas. Anyway, but yeah, he ran a tight ship, and his staff was pretty competent, and... This con was run better than some much bigger cons I've been to.
Imagine if you went to Otakon and there was the same number of staff and, there was the same, everything that happens at Otakon was the same, only there were half as many people there. So you got, you didn't have to, all the problems caused by lots of people, you wouldn't be a panel you couldn't get into. You could sit right at the front of every concert and event. You could get whatever you wanted in the dealer's room. All those problems caused by too many people and competition among con members go away. That is what SITA-con was like.
Yeah.
It was a convention that was run for... They could have handled... Well, the only reason I would say they couldn't have handled 1,000 people is because the main auditorium couldn't hold that many people. So they could have handled easily 300 to 500 people, and there were maybe 100 to 200 people.
Yep, but they ran everything as though, they ran a tight ship regardless of how many people were around. They'd go to a panel room and do everything to make it happen, even if one guy showed up to it.
Yep. I mean, we were lazier than they were. By Sunday, we had given up, and we went to our panel room and said, if you're here for our panels, go to Artist Alley. That's where we are.
Granted, Sunday was a pretty dead day, understandably.
It was a very dead day. They really should have made it a one-day con. Really.
Yeah, or what I would have done is I would have made it a Friday night through Sunday morning con. Like, it stops at 4 a.m. on Sunday.
Yeah, going all day Sunday was, I mean, sure, it made up for not going all day Friday and only doing Friday night. But really, Sunday afternoon, there's a reason cons end in the middle of the day on Sunday, even really big ones. It's because no one hangs around late on Sunday. They have to go home.
So also, another aside, not really related to the con, but for probably the first time in a long time, other than maybe Katsucon where I do this, we had a hotel room that was just me and Scott, and there were 2 beds in it. We didn't have the whole entourage of the front row crew with us. We had a private room.
Now, usually our plan ever since the college days was to cram as many people as we could into as few hotel rooms as we could comfortably sleep to save money. You know, if a hotel room is $100 a night, and it's one person in it, that's like $300 for one guy. If there's 10 people in it, well, that's $30 per person.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I mean, the way we run Otakon, it typically costs $100 per person to stay in the rooms with us from Thursday until Sunday.
Yep.
Yet, having a room to yourself is something that is worth all of the money, and I think at Otakon next year, we are going to get 4 rooms. One of those rooms is just going to be like me and Scott and maybe 1 or 2 other people at most. And then we're going to cram everyone else into the other 3 rooms.
It was definitely awesome to have an entire bed to myself, be able to throw my shit everywhere without worrying about it getting mixed up with anyone else's shit, and not having to wait for the shower or having to worry about other people delaying my con doings.
Yeah, I mean, at Otakon, it sucks, but I have to wake up 2 hours before I want to get up, take a shower, and then coordinate everyone else showering in some sort of optimal manner, or the room goes to shit and no one gets to the con.
Yeah.
At this con, I woke up and I got right in the shower.
If we had our own room at Otakon or any other convention, we could get up, shower, and leave everyone else to their own devices and be like, screw you guys.
Yeah.
Because everyone would have keys to those rooms and whatever. We got our own room. We got our own keys. We don't need you.
So before we continue, I mean, we set up in the Artist Alley with, pirate flag and a bunch of apples and all our stuff and our flyers and everything.
And we brought all this equipment there.
That we didn't use, though we could have. I mean, Entertainment System wanted to be interviewed. The Video Game Pianist wanted to be interviewed. Pretty much a lot of people wanted to be interviewed. We just didn't really feel like doing it at the con. It would have gotten in the way of the fun.
Yeah, like the Night Shift guys did a 20, 30-minute podcast at the con, and I listened to it, and it was good. But no one else really felt like doing any podcasting. I mean, the Happy House of Hentai podcasted all their panels, and it's relatively easy for them because they're way low tech and low effort in their podcast.
Luckily, they make up for it with funniness.
They make up for it with funniness and spades. I was sketchy. I was like, Happy House of Hentai. Those sound like they're going to be scary perverts.
And they ended up being awesome.
They ended up being awesome. All the guests were awesome. Basically, at this con, there were some awesome con attendees, but most of the con for us was a bunch of awesome guests and some awesome staff hanging out, being awesome together, while all, occasional people milled about around us.
Yep. I mean, one of the panels we got dragged into doing, and it was just us and Corbin, was basically Your Favorite Anime Sucks.
Yeah, he kind of dragged us into it, and we were kind of like, whatever, all right, we got nothing better to do.
And we did like late night on Saturday.
And he liked doing it so much, he made us do it again the next day.
And the thing is, the people who were there liked it so much that they all came back to see it again in the morning.
Yeah, and then we remembered to actually tell them to listen to Geeknights.
Yeah, because we totally didn't plug ourselves. We just did stuff at the con. But yeah, I mean, the panels we ran, like the Podcasters Unite panel or this Your Favorite Anime Sucks panel.
We didn't record any of these panels.
But they were awesome because it was basically just us hanging out in front of the room and people listening to us and being entertained.
Yeah, so from now on, if you guys out there listening to the show, you're not going to have the luxury of hearing all our con panels podcasted anymore. We're not going to podcast all of them. In fact, we're not going to podcast most of them. So you're going to have to come to cons to hear us now, or you're missing out on something.
Yeah, though we did record the Podcasters Unite panel. I'm trying to clean it up because for various reasons it couldn't be recorded very well because all the other podcasters want it, but I'm not going to bother with trying to play it on our show. So
No, we're not going to play it on our show. You're going to have to listen to one of the other podcasters who was at the con. They might put it up if they think it's okay with them.
So I guess before we continue, the guests who we hung out with at the con were all awesome.
Everyone was awesome.
We had, of course, Dave and Joel from one of my favorite new podcasts, Fast Karate for the Gentleman.
Dave and Joel Fast Cry the Gentleman is two guys who are hilarious, talking about, I guess, anime, and making lots of awesome, hilarious jokes. You know our joke about you can't attend Pokemon.
You can't have 10 Pokemon.
It's kind of like that styling, which is why it's so awesome.
Yeah, their style of humor is infectious. And also, we ran a anime match game, which went over really, really well. Like, we're going to try to do this at Otakon and Katsucon now.
Yep.
But they were panelists, and good God, are those guys hilarious. I want them to be celebrity panelists anytime I ever run that game show forever.
I agree. Okay.
Yeah, we also had half of the Ninja Consultants. Noah was there.
Yeah, Noah is the male half of the Ninja Consultants. And, you know, I'd met him before and hung out with him a little bit, but never for real, like this time. And he's actually way more awesome in person than he is on his podcast.
Yeah.
Not that his podcast is bad, but
just that he's a cool dude.
He's pretty damn cool.
Also, we had a weekly anime review.
Weekly Anime Review is a podcast I listened to once when they interviewed Corbin, the con chair of SITA-con.
Yeah.
And I knew about it, but I never listened to it because I didn't really have a need for a weekly anime review. But Aaron and Diana were actually pretty cool. Like, it was like, you know, I didn't know what to expect from them. You know, I figured a kind of a laid-back, normal anime watching guy, which he kind of was, but, you know, he wasn't a loser. He was awesome.
I love how you never give anyone a compliment. The best you'll say about someone is usually, they weren't shit.
Yeah. No, they were
really
cool.
cool. Yeah, they
In
were
fact, I think they were like the only, them, Noah, and Corbin were the only people who didn't smoke.
Yeah, and they were also the only ones who actually watch a lot
Martin
of it.
Long doesn't smoke either.
Yeah, of course. We'll get to the whole smoking thing.
Yeah.
And of course, Lord K and Hello Kitty from Happy House of Hentai were hilarious and awesome.
Even if you're not a pervert, if you don't like hentai, like us, we don't like hentai. We think it's perverted and kind of sick. And if you tell us you watch hentai, we'll kind of be like, okay, dude.
Granted, I've watched some hentai, and it's usually hilarious.
These people, they don't concentrate on the perverted part of hentai. They concentrate on the hilarious part of hentai.
Yeah, I mean, they did a panel, and at one point, all they did was describe straight up the plot of a hentai. And listening to that being described, especially by them and the way they did it, was just...
It's comedy gold, and they podcasted all those things. So if you go to Happy House of Hentai, you should be able to listen to that stuff pretty soon, if not already.
Yep, and of course, last and certainly not least, we had the Night Shift podcast, who I hadn't heard of or anything until this con.
Well, I heard of the Night Shift podcast from the SITA-con website when they announced them as guests. So I went and I checked out one of their episodes, and they talked about cheap beer, one of which was Steel Reserve, and I was like, okay, whatever. You know, I wonder what those guys will be like. But they were actually awesome guys. We talked a whole lot with them about all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
And they brought a computer, and they were running all the MAME games on it.
Man, we spent so much of Sunday playing absolutely shitty old fighting games with each other. It was great.
Yeah, they brought this MAME cabinet, and everyone was hanging around playing games on it all the time. They were definitely wicked smart. And their podcast, I listened to some other episodes. It was much better than their beer episode.
Well, it came up in the Podcasters Unite panel. Every podcaster out there, especially the people who are weekly or monthly instead of, daily like us, everyone always worries about, what if I get a new listener and they listen to the one shit episode out of the 100 good ones?
Yeah, exactly. These guys, I think they do twice weekly is the rate of doing their show. And it's pretty short, and it's mostly, hilariousness.
Yep. Now, of course, the other two guests, Entertainment System. If you've never heard of them, we've talked about them before. They are a Nintendo metal band.
Yeah, we met Entertainment System at Otakon 2 years ago.
I think so. They did a concert.
They were performed at Otakon to a middling crowd, of which we were prominent members.
To say prominent, all right, first off, we're yelling and screaming.
Yeah.
And then we started a mosh pit, which was broken up by Otakon staff within 8 seconds.
Yeah, these guys, they got a rhythm guitarist who's the lead guy, 2 lead guitars, a bassist, and a drummer. And they freaking just they're not actually just, playing Nintendo songs on rock instruments. They actually have composed, pieces of music.
Arranged.
Yeah, arranged pieces of music based on old Nintendo songs. And what their new songs like Mega Man 3 for 3, which is 3 Mega Man 3 songs combined into one.
Yep, and their 007 song is really hard and great.
Yeah, their GoldenEye, from the Frigate stage is actually really, really good. Like, I was like, I've heard rock James Bonds before. How good is yours going to be? Oh, it's real good. Oh, yeah.
But at Otakon, we made such a stink at their show that later on, we were going to see, I think we talked about this on the show before, but briefly, we were going to see a show, like a violent movie, and they come up, and they point us, and they're like, it's those guys. Those guys are awesome.
And we said, it's those guys. Those guys are awesome.
And it's two groups of guys who were being fanish at each other, and it was hilarious.
Yeah. And then we saw them at SITA-con. They actually showed up to do their shows and everything. And, we rocked out. They did 2 concerts, actually. One in sort of an open room, and then one right before the video game pianist did his thing after the cosplay.
So, of course, now here's the difference between Otakon and SITA-con. Mm-hmm. At Otakon, the staff broke up our mosh pit. At SITA-con, the staff started their own mosh pit.
Yeah, we were just rocking out with the staff at the first concert. It was way cool. And then we went up to him after, and he's like, yeah, I remember you guys from Otakon.
And they gave us free T-shirts.
They gave us T-shirts because we rocked out more than anyone else at their concert.
So if you at all like video game music or metal, I highly suggest you check out Entertainment System.
MySpace.com/entertainment system.
They got some CDs out. Apparently they sell out constantly.
Yeah, the CD is constantly sold out. They're going to do a big show in State College, Pennsylvania, which is where Penn State is. And that's October 28th. So if you're anywhere near Penn State College, Pennsylvania, go there and see the show. It's going to be their biggest show. And then they're going to the West Coast, apparently.
Yeah. And I'd love to see him play out here. I'm going to see if I can get him into RIT or something for some big gig somewhere.
That would be pretty awesome.
Yeah, I mean, a band like that at RIT would just go crazy.
They would indeed.
Yep. And in addition to them, we had Martin Lung, I hope I'm pronouncing his last name right, the video game pianist.
You might remember this guy. He was famous on YouTube and E-Bombs World and everything because he played Mario blindfolded and backwards and everything like that.
Yeah, in addition to being a classically trained, damn fine pianist, I mean, to put it in perspective, he is, and not to knock Piano Squall at all, but he is as better than Piano Squall as Piano Squall is better than me. This kid is amazing.
He is freaking amazing.
Because I'm a shit piano player.
And I'm not a piano player. At all. I mean, I guess I'm better than absolute zero, but it's like 1 degree.
So, he's famous on the internets now, and he plays all these big things, and they flew him out to SITA-con to play a concert.
And he's not lying about his skills. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, if anything, this kid is way too humble. He deserves to have a little bit more ego about how cool he is.
Not like us, where we're like, oh, we're so awesome, and we're only mostly awesome.
Yeah, we're like, we're so awesome, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, I just do what I do. I'm an okay student at my school.
Yeah, I mean, he said there were 40 other students studying classical piano at his school, and I was like, well, are you better than them? Are they better than you? Apparently he's been playing piano since he was 4. And he just, he wouldn't say anything so great. We're like, oh, we're so old. Because we asked him how old he was. He said 19, and all of us were like, oh, shit.
Because we were all in the mid-20s.
He's going to be 20 real soon, though. He's almost 20.
Yeah, yeah.
But the point is he's like, oh, you guys aren't so old. We're like, shut up, you.
So he put on a great concert. I mean, the crowd loved it. And there was a pretty big crowd for this concert.
Yeah.
It was after the cosplay.
After the cosplay. It was cosplay, Entertainment System, Martin Lung.
Yep. And then after that, of course, us and the con chair. And God, what was the other guy's name? The other staffer. Oh, I'm sorry, dude. We forgot your name, but you were cool. So us, the con chair Corbin, this other cool guy, and the video game pianist went out to Delmonico's to get some steak for dinner because we hadn't eaten anything of note all day.
Yeah, and that was a good time eating dinner.
Yeah, of course, the con could barely function without Corbin there to run everything.
That was fine. Nothing much was going on at that time.
Yeah. So they had a cosplay in addition to all this.
All right, the cosplay. We're going backwards in time to the cosplay.
Yeah, now every con has a cosplay. Every con that's good has a cosplay, despite what Anime World Order would say about cosplay. And I got to say, the people who entered the cosplay were pretty high quality.
Yeah, I mean, I expected it just to be like a bunch of kids going doop doop doop, but it wasn't. It was actually kind of okay.
Yeah, no offense to my old alma mater, but they had better, well, at least more people at their cosplay than Otakon had.
Yeah, I must say though, there weren't any super amazing skits, but what can you expect?
Yeah, though of note, I mean, because actually it was funny. Corbin walks by Scott at some point during Saturday because the cosplay is Saturday night, and he basically says
it was early Saturday.
Yeah, and he's like, so you can run the you're set for the cosplay, right? You're gonna run it, and then he kind of ran away.
He's like, yeah, we're doing this cosplay. You guys want to do something help us out? I'm like, well, what do you want me to do? And he's like, here's what we got so far. And he shows me the page in the con book that has the cosplay rules. And then he leaves. And I'm like, dude.
So Scott comes over to me like, I think we're running the cosplay.
And I was like, all right.
All I can picture is the sound from Anime World Order when Daryl Surratt ran that cosplay.
That was great. And the truth died. So I called Corbin eventually and was like, all right, what exactly do he wants to do for the cosplay? And in the end, we ended up just judging it. It was fine because the part that I didn't want to handle was lining the people up and figuring out who goes on when and who's who and all that jazz.
Yeah, but again, props to SITA-con for having the staff. Everything was totally organized and set up.
Yeah, I was kind of amazed. Usually a cosplay will start like way after the allotted time. Their cosplay started 10 minutes after they said it was going to start, which is basically on time.
Yeah, especially considering the sheer number of people in the cosplay compared to the size of the con.
Yeah, like the whole front 2 rows of the auditorium were filled with cosplayers once they were all done, and about slightly more than that number of people were in the audience.
Yep. Now, on the cosplay panel, we had a bunch of people like staffers, and the guys from Caffeinated Press.
There was one guy from Caffeinated Press, one staffer, and both of us were the judges.
Yep. And luckily, I've judged cosplays before. In fact, I learned a lot about cosplays from Tex back at RIT. So we were okay to handle this because Scott, we've talked about cosplays before. We know what to do. And we both kind of filled in everyone else, like, here's how you actually judge a cosplay versus what everyone thinks a cosplay is judged by.
Yeah, but screw that cosplay.com, buy the book stuff, We're
See, here's
just...
the thing. I like that kind of cosplay, but I like the freeform, too. You gotta, as long as everyone involved in a cosplay knows exactly what to expect, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, exactly. So all we had to really do was, every cosplayer had a number. We had to take their number and assign the numbers to the awards.
Now, of course... this isn't really Corbin or anyone's fault, but they didn't really... I don't think they knew how cosplay judges need to do their thing. As in, he didn't set it up so we could look at the costumes like one-on-one with the people or interview them backstage. Which, honestly, the reason I don't fault him is because when I ran that cosplay at RIT when I was president, right before I left RIT, that spring cosplay, I totally didn't do that for my judges, and Tex yelled at me. So that's why I knew to do that. And the other thing was, judges like to interview, like, so, did you make that yourself? What fabric did you use? All that stuff.
Yep.
He wanted us to do that in front of the crowd.
Which is really kind of
Well, it was fine, except that after the first 3 people, I didn't want to ask the 4th person a question. And none of you fuckers decided to ask a question.
Well, there wasn't much to ask.
So
not every, some costumes have something to ask, like, how do you get those wings to stay up? Or what's that weapon made out of? Or how long did it take to make that really intricate? Or is that sewed on? Or is that painted on? That sort of stuff.
Though Scott asked probably the best question in this one group.
What question was that?
The magic.
Okay, so this group gets up, and there are these people, I think they were like evil guys from Kingdom Hearts or something like that.
Yeah.
And they do this magic trick, which I saw, which is so transparent.
But the thing is, their stage presence was really good.
Their stage presence was really good, and they were pretty cool, in their costumes were above average and everything. And I was like, can I come up there and do the magic trick? I was like, yeah, I'll come and do it. And then they were like, when they realized that I had figured it out, they were like, no.
But they handled it in character because they were kind of these evil, think like a Gestapo kind of thing, like the aura they were putting off.
We got to play Kingdom Hearts so we know what the hell these people are talking about.
Yeah, I really want to play Kingdom Hearts. But they pulled off this there will be no more magic tricks.
Yeah.
This showing is over. And they handled it so well that we all voted for them for best presentation.
Yeah, and the thing was after... the cosplay, after people were done doing whatever they were doing on stage, they sat down in the front rows to watch the rest of the cosplay. And after those people sat down, the female who was sort of the lead of their group was yelling like the greatest shit at all the other cosplayers.
Like the kind of stuff we always yell.
Yeah. So I thought they were way cool.
Yep. Also of note, there were 3 girls from Quebec who came to this con and cosplayed as very well done Shinsengumi.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy.
I mean,
like,
they did.
Wow, you came from Quebec to SITA-con.
Yeah, but it was really cool because, we met them and they had really interesting accents. And I thought, like, wow, they're speaking French. I wonder if they're... And then I talked to them and one of them didn't speak English at all. And then I figured out they were Quebecois. And haltingly in French, I talked to them a little bit. And it was barely enough. But luckily, 2 of them spoke English really well.
Yep.
But they were really cool. And then they won an award, too, for craftsmanship, I believe.
Yeah, because we gave the person who had the best craftsmanship best in show, so we get,
Yeah, there was
normally we would have given, if we would have allowed ourselves to give more than one award to one person would have gotten like 4 awards.
Yeah, there was this one girl, and she was absolutely adorable, and I mean that in an entirely innocent way.
Yeah.
She was just really cute, and she had this costume, and it was just absolutely adorable.
Oh, God.
I don't. What was it from? I don't even remember.
I think it was just something.
She had a reference picture, but I didn't look at that. It was just... And she did this dance kind of kick thing on stage. It was just awesome. All the judges voted for her in like 8 categories, like everything.
Yeah. It was sort of an obvious cosplay, like anyone could figure out who was supposed to win. It was just like, oh, obviously.
Yep. But I mean, other than that, the cosplay went really well. There was a big crowd for it. A lot of parents in the audience because their kids were in the cosplay.
Yeah, it seemed like a lot of high school kids from nearby came to this thing, and their parents were with them, and then the parents took them home, so they didn't stay for the late night awesomes. Which I guess is good, because we didn't actually strictly check IDs for all that stuff.
No.
Like when we talked about hentais and stuff.
Yeah, so Saturday night was probably, there was a lot of awesome going on. I mean, we had Happy House of Hentai did their late night hentai panel, which was hilarious, and there were a lot of people there. And then, after that, the 3 of us, me, Scott, and Corbin, did Your Favorite Anime Sucks to, kind of, pretty much until I think 2 a.m. we did that for everyone who was left.
No, we did it way too much.
It was great, though. I gotta say, that's a real easy panel to run, and it's really funny. And of course, Scott and I have seen mostly the same anime, so, someone would say, like, make fun of Tenchi Muyo, or make fun of Evangelion and Cowboy Bebop, and we'd go nuts. But then, every time someone said an anime that neither one of us had seen, and we give each other the look of, aw shit, this thing's breaking down, Corbin would bust out, and he'd know about the anime, and he'd talk about it.
Yeah. It was generally fun. I mean, I'd like to see the actual, Your Favorite Anime Sucks, panel, whatever. Yeah. That way I could get a better idea of what I was supposed to do, but just making it up as we went along worked pretty well.
Yeah, the crowd loved it so much that we ran it again in the morning, and almost everyone who was there that night came back to see it again.
Yeah, it was pretty surprising that, even though we did almost the same thing because they yelled out the same anime, I think what we need to do is we need to figure out which anime people will call out no matter what, and write something really clever to say for every one of those.
Yeah, except we already had really clever stuff to say for
so
all
we just
the big
need to
ones.
write it down so we can, save it again.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about Naruto for like a half hour at night.
That would actually be a good podcast, would be like Your Favorite Anime Sucks, the podcast, where every week they just pick a new show, and for 5 minutes they say why it sucks.
Huh.
And just keep going until you've done all the shows, because there isn't a new anime every week, so you'd eventually get to them all.
Of course, the Sunday morning panel, we also went on a lot of tangents and talked a lot about just random funny con stories and actually a lot of stories we haven't told on the show yet.
Yeah, I think that's what you really have to do, though, for that panel, because just saying why animes suck can get a little old, because a lot of them's the same reason. It's like, Naruto sucks for the same reason that Dragon Ball sucks, and Bleach sucks.
And Yu Yu Hakusho. Don't forget Yu Yu Hakusho.
Yep.
That show had so much promise.
Yu Yu Hakusho was basically exactly like Naruto in its suckiness. Early episodes, really promising, really good. Then it turns into stupid fighting the end.
So, on Saturday, we also ran the anime match game, which we had run often at the RIT Anime Club.
Didn't we talk about this already?
We didn't talk about it in detail.
Oh, okay.
We just talked about how Dave and Joel were really funny on it.
Oh, okay.
And we ran it, it's the old 70s match game show. We have a bunch of celebrity guests up, and Scott was one of them, and I was the host. And we'll say something like, Ninja blank. and then the contestant says like star, but then the other people write like Gaiden or scroll, and then you have to match the celebrities and you get points.
If you've ever watched the 70s game show, I think it's a 70s game show. It might be 60s. Who knows?
No, it was 60s and it sucked, and then it was redone in the 70s and it was hilarious. It's one of the most famous game shows ever.
Yeah, it's a famous game show that kids nowadays don't know about unless they watch the Game Show Network, which shows all the old game shows.
I felt so old that I actually had to explain the rules to this game show, this super popular game show.
It doesn't matter because it's real simple to understand. Once people get what's going on, it's really entertaining. It's not a show about winning and losing because there's really no skill or anything involved. It's just entertaining the audience with funny matches.
Yep. I mean, especially when one comes out of nowhere where, a guest puts down a really weird answer, but then the contestant says something really weird and it works out and they win.
Yeah.
The crowd ate it up, and we had a big crowd. We're totally running this at a bunch of other cons.
We got to run an anime match game wherever we can.
Yeah.
We're going to spread it around like a fire. A big fire. All right, so the con had a dealer's room, which really wasn't so big. There were 1, 2, 3 real dealers that were selling merchandise that I can remember. There was the Caffeinated Press guys who we met, and they were kind of okay, cool dudes. And they have a business.
Kind of okay, cool dudes.
They weren't, because we said so many other people are awesome. So I don't want to say everyone's awesome.
You don't want to dilute the awesome pool.
Exactly.
They were cool guys, though.
They were cool guys, and they were taking pictures of people in cosplay and then selling them prints of the pictures with their little photo printer there. And that's a cool thing to do. They think, other cons, most cons don't have someone doing that. Otakon has someone doing that.
Most cons do, Scott.
No, most cons don't have that.
Well, every middling to large con does. The thing is, it's usually set up in a very specific way, and it's usually
the only con that I've been to that has that is Otakon.
Otakon, Katsucon, Anime Central, OhioCon had it.
OhioCon didn't have it.
Yeah, it did. OhioCon too. There was a photo suite.
Yeah, there's a photo suite, but it's not where you can get your picture taken and then they sell you a print. It's they take your picture and then they put it on their website or in their whatever and they show it to you.
Well, they usually give it to you too. Yeah, they do have the unique thing that they actually give you prints of it.
Yeah, they're selling you prints of the photos. I mean, you can go to a con like Anime Next. A fan's view was there, and you could go into the photo suite, and a fan's view would take your picture and put it on their website. But they weren't selling you printouts of your photo. Which is what these guys do. And basically they're hoping that cons in the Northeast will outsource their photo suite to them for awesome, which is a great plan. And also in the dealer's room was this guy, I forget his name, I have his card, I think, or Rim has his card.
Yep, I got his card laying around in the pile of business cards I took from this con.
Yeah, he was an awesome guy, and we started talking to him about how he was in Australia fighting whaling ships, and he was a crazy awesome guy.
And he was promoting a Comic-Con.
He was promoting the Syracuse Heroes Expo, which is what I was looking up when I was saying before.
Yep, which we would have gone to if we didn't have prior commitments.
Yeah, so if you are anywhere near Syracuse, and you like comics, anime, robots, anything like that's nerdy, go to SyracuseHeroesExpo.com. And this guy was promoting it, so it must be good. And it does actually look like a good time. There's some people there that I actually know.
And we're totally going to get this guy on the show and interview him about just what he was doing in the waters of Australia.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. C.B. Cebulski is going to be there, I think. He's the guy who wrote X-Men Fairy Tales, and he used to work for CPM.
Yep.
He's basically the guy who bridges the gap between, the American underwear pervert comics and the world of manga and Japanese stuff. He actually has a comic coming out in December called Wander Lost. It's sort of semi-autobiographical deal. I'm getting to the first issue just to see what's up.
Yep. But anyway, the dealer's room was pretty small and typical. They would have liked to have more dealers, to the point that we have friends Luke and Gabby who run an anime store in Rochester. And when he heard that, he was willing to call them Friday night and invite them to come to the con and vend on Saturday.
Yeah, he really wanted more people in the dealer's room.
The thing is, not to disparage the dealers that were there, but Luke and Gabby's store could have blown them out of the water.
Yeah, they didn't have any really interesting stuff, except one group was selling these really old Topps cards, these Topps collectible cards, from Mario and Donkey Kong, the Mario and Donkey Kong game packs. And I bought like 2 packs of Mario and a pack of Donkey Kong. And they're really awesome.
It had the gum in it.
Well, the Donkey Kong pack had the gum in it. And I was going to challenge someone to eat the gum or eat it myself, but part of the gum was brown.
Yeah, there was.
I still have the gum.
There's either something growing on it.
It's not getting any worse
or
than it was 3 days ago. Because
or some kind of industrial solvent is leaked into that shit.
I mean, this pack of gum is already really, really old. It's not getting much older. So.
But actually, the one dealer had Death Notes, and he had a bunch of Nana stuff, and I almost bought some. And a Lacus Klein tumbler that I almost bought.
A Lacus Klein tumbler, you say?
It was pretty cool. The problem with it was it looked really cool, except at the very bottom, there's a hint. I'm pretty sure that was from some sort of not very kosher picture of Lacus. But that part was cropped out, so it looked cool. But I got this idea that it was probably taken from a not-so-savory picture of Lacus Klein.
I was looking for some magnets, like refrigerator magnets of anime, and I didn't find any there, so... Oh, and also, Broccoli Entertainment sent SITA-con a bunch of merchandise, and they sold it at the SITA-con table in the dealer's room, along with the SITA-con stuff.
Yep.
That was about the dealer's room. That's it.
Now, the rest of the con, they had a whole crazy ton of anime showings, and they had a whole crazy ton of gaming. They had a lot of video.
Yeah, there was a whole lot of Full Metal Alchemist trading card game going on.
And a lot of D&D.
Yeah, there was a whole like D&D campaign going on. And I saw like 6 or 7 people in there playing it, which is a lot of people for a small convention like this.
I mean, you'd be in the Artist Alley, which was basically Podcast Alley.
Yeah.
And there'd be no one around. You're like, what the hell? But then you go over to the other building, and that's where everyone from the con is.
There were always 4 guys playing Smash Brothers. There were always 2 people playing DDR without pads, using game pads instead of foot pads. And there were always like 6 people playing D&D and 5 guys playing FMA, the trading card game. Like, at all times.
And a lot of people had DSs, but not as many people as other big cons. But there wasn't really so much opportunity to play DS games.
Yeah, we were too busy hanging out with all these guests, doing awesome stuff, and talking about awesome stuff. There wasn't a lot of DS playing. Although the Night Shift podcast guy who hadn't really used a DS, he picto-chatted. And he was like, oh, man.
Yep.
He was all about it.
So much for the PSP.
So much for it. Yeah, he said he used the PSP and wasn't interested, so I think he might be going to get a DS. Like, if someone can demonstrate to him that there's some games he'll like, he'll go for it. I think he's an RPG guy, too, so if there's some RPGs on the DS, especially when, like, Children of Mana comes out and stuff.
Now, here's an interesting thing that we noticed. All the guests who were coming from the South smoked.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy.
Because, I mean, up here in New York, I mean...
did Happy House of Hentai, I don't think they smoked anything.
I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, I don't think they did.
I think one of them might have.
Oh, one of them might have, yeah.
It doesn't matter.
That doesn't matter.
Like, all entertainment systems smoked. But it was weird because, they were complaining, like, how can New York have these no smoking laws? And all us New Yorkers were like, New Jersey does too because not that many people smoke up here.
Yeah, we should have a thread on the forums, like, tell us where you live and tell us how many people smoke, like, relative to the population.
I mean, granted, my assessment of bars in New York City before the smoking ban was a little biased in that I would never go into a smoking bar. And all the non-smoking bars are really nice. There weren't really any non-smoking dive bars.
Yep.
But by the same token, I mean, I saw a thing that less than 30% of New Yorkers smoke, and the smoking ban was a great thing. Bars are making more money now.
Yeah. The thing is, like, if you go on the street of New York City and walk around, it feels like there's a lot of smoking going on because, so one guy smokes, like, the whole radius around him is coughing, and all these people can't smoke inside, so they're all on the street, so the sidewalks have a lot of smoke on them in general, especially near building entrances. But if you actually count the people, smoking and non-smoking, not too many people smoke up here in the Northeast in general. I mean, sure they do, but not a lot.
Yeah, not nearly as much as the South, which I noticed the same thing at Animazement. A lot of the people coming to the con smoked outside.
Yeah.
But at Otakon, I mean, hardly anyone smokes.
Yeah. If you looked at the people at this convention total, like, it didn't seem like the con staff was smoking. It didn't look like the con goers were smoking. It was the guests that were from far away were, like, unanimously smoking.
And bitching about New York.
And bitching about New York that, we walked into Denny's and the guy was like, smoking, smoking, smoking. And we're like, there is no smoking section at all.
There
It's
hasn't been
all
for a long
non-smoking.
time.
There hasn't been for years. They're like, no way, dude. We're like, yeah, way.
Yeah, we're like, not only, but New York City had an even stricter law before the state one was passed, and everyone was fine with it.
Yep. So
It was just interesting.
yeah, it's like I haven't, I had been away from smoking for a long time. Like I stopped noticing it because it was such a minor portion of the population.
Yeah, I mean, when I went to Raleigh for Animazement, and we went to a restaurant, and the waitress said smoking or non, and I was taken aback, like, what? Because no one has asked me that question in years.
Yeah, I remember when they stopped asking the question, I was like, ooh. And then it took about 2 weeks to get used to not being asked. And now when people ask, it's all weird all of a sudden.
Luckily, almost every place I go on a regular basis has banned smoking.
Yeah, I mean, but you look at my work day for the past 6 months is drive to the middle of nowhere alone where there's no smoking in my car, there's no smoking at my work where I'm alone, no smoking on the way back. I don't encounter smoke now, really.
See, I do, but that's because I go down to the Bronx and Yonkers. Interestingly, not a lot, but I'd say about 10% of the people at my company smoke. I don't think anyone at my company under the age of 40 smokes.
Wow.
All the old men smoke and the old women smoke, but none of the younger people do at all.
Huh. Alrighty then.
Yeah, anyway, the one thing I'd like to say is that Corbin, we've mentioned him a bunch of times, the con chair. We're not making fun of SUNY IT at all, but he is definitely a big fish in a small pond.
Yeah, I know, just, with my assessment of people, based on 3 days of interaction, Corbin and maybe 3 or 4 of the staff guys and girls that I noticed were awesome big fish type people like us.
Like we're not talking in terms of big ego or anything like that. Just in terms of if they had been at RIT, they would have been pretty much guaranteed members of the front row crew.
Yeah.
Without question.
Like, look at Corbin. This guy is the president of the anime club. He's on their student government equivalent, whatever they call it. He's running this big con pretty much all by himself, and he's doing a really good job of it.
Yeah, a con that, honestly, it's interesting that this con in this little school had more staff and more stuff than Otakon, run by the biggest freaking anime club in the country.
Yeah. If we had the people who attended Otakon going to SITA-con, that would have been awesome.
If Otakon were staffed by the people from SITA-con, that would be one fuck of a con.
It would be one hell of a con for sure. But yeah, this guy was so awesome, yet the area he was in was so lame. He was like the king there.
Yeah, I gotta say, after hanging out with him, no one really knew each other, but after we did one event and Corbin saw what we were all about and we talked a bit, we were fast friends, and we'll probably be hanging out with this dude at any convention we all go to.
Yeah, I imagine whenever we go to a con in the Northeast area, we'll be like, hey, Corbin, you want to go to this con, hang out with us? He'll be like, yeah, what's up?
Yeah, I'm definitely going to drag him in if we get panels at bigger cons.
That's definitely a good idea. Definitely a good idea.
I mean, all in all, SITA-con was well worth going, mostly for us because it was free, and if nothing else.
Yeah, I don't know if it would have been worth it with the money you had. Well, no, it would have been worth it simply because of the entertainment system and the video game pianist.
Yeah, that alone was worth more than what we would have paid to get in.
I think that if I lived where I live now, if I lived closer to the con, I would have gone all 3 days and done everything I could. If I was an attendee of the con, living where I live now, I probably would have gone, paid the fee, just gone on Saturday, and mostly went to the concerts and the cosplay and not much else.
But from what that seems what a lot of people did. But from what I can gather, the con was successful enough that they can probably throw it again. And now that it was successful once, and that everyone who went seemed to have a really good time, no one was complaining about this con at all. From what I can see.
Next year, they'll pick a date that doesn't conflict with other cons in the area. He tried to pick a date that didn't conflict with other cons, and then Manga Next jumped on him, which has pushed because it goes with Anime Next, which is already an established con.
But I think this con is going to be a phenomenon. I think it's going to get big in the coming years, or at least it's going to stay and get more people and slowly grow.
It's pretty much going to be the New York State Anime Convention. That's what I think it can be.
Yeah, because there aren't really any big cons upstate.
Yeah, and mostly because New York City can't have anime cons. And
you can't have 10 anime cons.
Yeah, and is there a Buffalo Anime Con? I don't think so.
Yeah, there's UbiCon.
Oh, is there? That's right. But that's
The thing is,
that's really small.
Last time UbiCon was, or maybe it was 2 times ago. UbiCon was at the same time as Toricon, and all I remember is that I knew people who went to both, and I was at Toricon, and everyone who went to UbiCon came back and bitched that they should have went to Toricon instead.
Yeah. The only other cons in the area would be
Anime North.
There's Anime North, which is in Canada, and that's about it. So I really think SITA-con, if they promote themselves more on the internets, because I didn't see them on Anime News Network or any of the other usual places, and if they run the con as well next year as they did this year, they can really basically get every anime fan in New York State to show up.
And I can guarantee that we'll go to pretty much any SITA-con.
Yeah, especially if they pay us to go and have us as guests.
Even if they didn't, this con is, the hotels in the area, you get a hotel for like $50 a night.
Yeah, there was a shady hotel for $54 a night.
Yeah.
But it wasn't that shady. If you paid them $54, they would have given you a bed for a night.
Yeah, it's not going to be some kind of Monte Cristo thing where they kill you for your diamonds.
Yeah, that was not what it was going to be, no. But it was a little bit shady.
And of course, to wrap up, we gained a bunch of listeners from SITA-con. We're glad you liked the show. Welcome.
Yeah, listen to other episodes.
Yeah, join the website, the Frapper.
Subscribe with your subscribers.
Frapper Map, forums. Our forums are rocking. There's a lot of people there.
There's a lot of people joining the forums lately. And all you people, if you join the forums and you don't get an email saying, congratulations, you have joined the forums, you're probably using Hotmail. And guess what? Congratulations, you've joined the forums. Go sign in.
Yeah, we have never turned down anyone's entrance to the forums. We read them all. We personally approve them all. We have never saw fit to turn someone away. And furthermore, we've only ever banned one person ever. And goddamn was that kid annoying.
He was real annoying.
I think that's it.
Yeah, I yawned. It's over.
Yeah. Stay tuned tomorrow when we'll talk about something.
Oh, God.
And that was Geeknights with Rim and Scott. Special thanks to DJ Pretzel for our opening theme.
Be sure to visit our website at www.frontrowcrew.com. If you like our podcasts, you'll love our forums. Make sure you visit them. You can send your email feedback to geeknights@gmail.com. And if you want, you can leave us a voicemail at 206-333-1537.
Geeknights airs every weeknight, Monday through Thursday.
Geeknights is recorded with absolutely no studio and no audience. But unlike those other talk shows, it's actually recorded at night.
I like rain outside. I like to go for walks in the rain.
You go do that.
I have in the past. In fact, I remember one time you locked me and Emily out of the house when we did so.
Yeah, I did. You wanted to be in the rain, but then, you wanted to be inside. I thought you liked it in the rain.
I did, and you know what? It wasn't raining anymore, and we were done.
Uh-huh. Well, yeah, you get what you deserve.
Anyway, we got some news. Being Anime Manga Comics Day to all of you new SITA-con listeners.
Yeah, well, we were at SITA-con this weekend, but while we were at SITA-con, there was another con going on in New Jersey called Manga Next.
Which we kind of wanted to go to, and we might have gone for it. In fact, we probably would have gone for a day if SITA-con hadn't been, awesome. We went there instead.
Yeah, but Manga Next is apparently the sister-brother companion convention to Anime Next. It's in the same place, run by the same people. But it's manga instead of anime.
Now, I don't know what the hell that's all about.
I don't know. What do you do at a manga convention that's different from an anime convention? I don't know.
That's like having a video game convention and then a DDR convention.
I mean, if it was Japan, there's enough manga where you could have a manga convention that was a lot like, a comic convention.
Well, I mean, most of the manga I like hasn't been released in the U.S.
I know, right?
Or has been released in such a limited quantity with no advertising that no one's ever heard of it.
Yeah, it's like you could have a complete manga convention for me with one table full of manga, and that would be all of it in the U.S. But anyway, there were 2 industry panels at this convention where they announced some stuff. Del Rey Manga announced 3 new series, Kitchen Princess, Momote Lollipop,
Great,
and Shugo Chara.
All right, that last one doesn't have something weird in the name.
Tokyo Pop and Viz and such. But they do publish Osamu Tezuka's works that aren't already published by Dark Horse and Viz. Mostly Buddha. They've already published 8 hardcover volumes of Buddha, which is all of it. And they are now publishing the paperback versions, which is what I'm buying. I already have 3 of them out of 8. And they are going to release, I've already pre-ordered it, another Osamu Tezuka manga, Ode to Kirihito, which is, I guess, awesome because it's a Tezuka manga. And they're also going to add to their catalog all of Keiko Takemiya's works. First, they're going to do 2 Terra, which is 3 volumes, and then they're going to do some other stuff in the future. One they mentioned was Shonen Ai Song of Wind and Trees.
Don't they call that a seminal Shonen Ai work?
Yeah, something like that. One that was specifically mentioned by name is the seminal Shonen Ai Song of Wind and Trees.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yep.
There you have it. Oh, one other thing while we're talking about manga. In 2 months from now, December, you can pre-order it now because you pre-order comics and stuff, from Diamond 2 months in advance. Dark Horse is putting out Gunsmith Cats Volume 1 Omnibus.
Hot damn.
It's 460-something pages, and if you pre-order it from dcbservice.com, it's $8. If you buy it at the store, I think it might be $15, $20.
I need a lot more omnibuses.
It's freaking a whole shit ton of Gunsmith Cats manga for not a lot of money. So either pre-order it now or in December, go to the bookstore and buy. Shugo Chara is by Peach Pit, who is the people who did Dear S and Rosen Maiden.
God.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dear, I don't even get me started on that goddamn manga.
In addition to the 9 volumes of Genshiken that Del Rey will ultimately publish, because they already published some of them here, there's going to be a Genshiken fan book, and there's going to be some Kujibiki Unbalanced something. I like
Kujibiki Unbalanced more than I like Genshiken.
Yeah, there's going to be some unbalanced action.
I'm all about that.
And also the famous Carl Horn, friend of Anime World Order and anime podcasts. I think he works for Dark Horse. He says that Del Rey will be releasing an encyclopedia covering every manga that has been published in English.
Ooh.
We'll see if that's true, because, a guy from Dark Horse announces something about Del Rey. That's like Sony coming out at the press conference and being like, Nintendo's coming out with this controller that you can move around. So who knows if we can trust that.
But yet at the same time, you stand to gain nothing by lying about another company. I mean...
Yeah, all you do is stand to lose when they sue you.
Or worse, when they come out and say, no, we're not.
Yeah.
What the hell?
But if there is such a thing, I will totally buy that. I have to see it first.
In a second.
Yeah, but if I saw it and it was good, I would get it.
I'm curious to see if my Sanctuary will be in there.
It has to be, because it was a manga published in English.
I'm sure they'll leave something out, and some fanboy will complain about it, and that fanboy might be me.
Oh, and the other panel at the convention that was industry was Vertical. You might not have heard of Vertical, because they aren't a big manga publisher like Buy It.
Yeah. See, I'm waiting for someone.
Dark Horse.
I'm just waiting for someone to re-release all of Urusei Yatsura.
Yeah.
I mean, my friend Ken had a whole thing.
I would buy 1 volume of that, but I don't know if I'd buy all of it.
I'd buy it all, because that show has a special place in my heart. I mean,
there's got to be a lot of Urusei Yatsura manga.
There is. There's a lot of that manga.
It's like there's a lot of long-running manga series, and I kind of learned my lesson from One Piece, and that I probably don't want to buy them all. Just buy enough of it,
Well, see, the thing is, I read a lot, actually, of the manga, and it never really got old, because it changed itself up more than Ranma, even, to the point that it actually was usually always funny.
All right. Well, you got news?
Yeah, I got a news, real quick, little news. Now, there's been all this talk about, the trouble with the PS3 launch. Well, not really the launch, but the pre-launch, the pre-orders. Now, they sold out immediately, and now they're all on eBay, but eBay's shutting them down, but no one cares, and they're going to come back up, whatever. Meanwhile, Nintendo... which said they're going to have, 9 million Wiis or something stupid.
There's like a hajillion freaking Wiis going to be out there. If you want a Wii, you're going to get one if you've got the dinero.
So the Nintendo store in New York City, in Manhattan, where Scott pre-ordered the Wii a while ago.
Weeks ago.
A while ago, yeah. Has quietly started taking pre-orders again.
Yeah, it's like they took pre-orders from me and a whole bunch of other people, and then they stopped. And then they started taking them again without any announcement at all.
Yeah, and also currently with no limit. And they haven't said how many they're going to allow to be taken before they stop. But
a guy on the street said.
Yeah, well, actually, apparently he asked the Nintendo store guy. And
an employee at the Nintendo store told the guy who told the internet who told us.
So while it's total...
It's Wednesday, October 11th, and this is Geeknights. Tonight we talk about SITA-con. Let's do this.
So for the first time in like a month, we had a thunderstorm.
Yeah, it was kind of weird today how, the weather wasn't all sunny like it's been the past couple days, but I didn't feel bad. Usually when it's all gray, I'm like, it's gray. Oh. And you get that sort of winter semi, less happy than in the summer business going on. But I was pretty happy with the bad weather today. I don't know.
See, the thing is, the winter around here doesn't bother me nearly as much as it did in Rochester.
Well,
because it's sunny here in the winter. Well, there'll be a foot of snow, but it'll be sunny. The sun will be out.
Well, I mean, the cold bothers me, but today it was
Wait
gray.
a minute. So the cold bothers you, yet you get pissed off if the sun is out.
Well, because I don't like the brightness of the sun, but I like the warmth of the sun.
What kind of fungus are you?
Anyway, it was gray and dank, but I was kind of happy because it was a change of pace. I like change.
See, I like change, but when it comes to the weather, I would love it to be like 89 degrees, dry, and brutally sunny every single day.
Just something about today's weather felt good. I don't know what it was. I bet you if the same weather was tomorrow, I probably wouldn't feel good about it.
The same weather's going to be tomorrow. In fact, worse. It's going to be rainy and miserable for the next couple days.
Yeah, see, rain, I love rain when I'm inside. Rain is the best thing in the universe. When I'm outside, rain is the worst thing ever.
See, I